I like big butts and I cannot lie, those other brothers can't deny. For your information, I was referring to butts, not butts.
Hello and welcome to episode 78 of Chet and John's Reassuring You Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivus. John Denton's not with us this week, he's on holiday, so stepping in is Joypod host David Turner.
Evening all.
We are about to go through two top 10 lists, the 10 games we've been playing over the last 7 days. Number 10s are the games we've been playing the least, number 1s are the games we've been playing the most. That's it, Dave, let's do it.
Right, I'm starting, am I?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the shortest amount of time I think I've ever put into a video game. Well, actually playing it anyway. I've been playing Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Oh.
And what happened is I installed... You know, you ever do that thing where you just don't even look at you just whack the disc into your Xbox 360, hit X, and then install it straight away, right? That's standard. Right. So I did that, but then I realised there was another disc. So I thought, oh, for Christ's sake, I'll install that. So I installed that, and then I put in disc 1, and it said, put in disc 2. And I was like, oh, fuck off. So I put the second disc in, and it was like, right, now installing the high HD texture pack. I was like, but I've already installed whatever's on here. So I did that, and that took about 45 minutes.
Wow. It
was well frustrating. And then it said, put in disc 1. I was like, oh, stop telling me to do shit. So I put in disc 1, and then it played a cutscene that was far too long and full of some of the most cliche shit that I've ever seen in my life. Like there was the cocky hacker, the computer hacker guy, and everyone else is in military outfit, but he's wearing a hoodie. You know, it's like shit like that. Yeah. And then it said, oh, you go into cover by pressing A. So I went into cover, and it was like, right, take these guys out. And I walked out of cover, and they go, oh, look, he's over here. And they shot me, and I died in 2 shots, and I turned it off. That was my experience of Splinter Cell Blacklist.
I saw you playing it. Annoyingly. Sorry, go on.
Like, you probably saw me installing it, to be honest. Right. That's you know, in terms of how long I put into it, that was probably what you saw. I really want to play Spies versus Mercenaries. And is it Mercenaries? I think so. Yeah. Because I really enjoyed that game on the Xbox, and you know, it was so good, and it came out at a time where, you know, we weren't even just completely used to first-person shooters online at that point on Xbox Live. So not only was it like a really refreshing idea, it came really early on, and we had so much fun with it. So I wanted to jump into it, but I couldn't find the option. So I don't know if you have to unlock it or whatever. I went back to the main menu, and it was like, start the story. So maybe it's on the second disc. I haven't tried that yet, but I'll get around to that eventually. That's essentially what I got that game for. And, you know, not the stealth action, because I'm not a stealth fan. I don't want to be waiting in shadows when I'm playing a video game.
You're not going to play the campaign?
If I could get past the first man, I might do. But right now, I keep popping out of a crate and getting shot. So I'm not, I don't know. It's very rare that I like a stealth part of a game. The ones that I did like were the Batman series, as everyone says, because it was so easy to jump in and out of, you know, being found. I hate walking out of a place, being found and killed straight away. And it was like, right, okay, do that again. Whereas, you know, things like The Last of Us, Batman, and even Far Cry, when you had stealthy bits in Far Cry, it was all about if you're found, you can get out of that situation easily and move back into stealth. What I don't like is instant failing the moment you get found. So I don't know. I might whack it just down to easy and just play through it, because I hear it's actually a pretty good game. So I'm not saying it's shit or anything. It's just that I've played it for about 5 seconds. Okay.
That's really annoying, because I thought it was going to be higher on your list, because it's higher on mine, so I'll talk about it in a bit.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, my number 10 is a game called Paper Galactica on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game, and I downloaded it because it has, without question, the worst box art of all time. There's no arguing. It's black pen on a white background, and it's a drawing of a smiley face with an explosion around it. The aspect ratio's gone all stretched and weird because it's zoomed in really close, so it's a horrible looking box. But in fact, the game's actually all right. It's a Space Invaders style shooter, so it doesn't scroll. The enemies just descend from the top of the screen. It's a really nice idea because it all takes place on the pages of a school exercise book, so you can change the background. It can be like lined writing paper, or you can have like the little maths textbook exercise book boxes. It's a really nice touch, but everything's drawn, so it looks like a kid's exercise book. At first, the enemies are just spaceships, and then they're smiley faces and stuff. It's a really cool idea, but the fire from your ship breaks everything, including enemy fire. So literally, I just moved from left to right, shooting constantly, and it wiped everything out. Wiped out all the enemies, wiped out all the fire. So I just never got hit, and I did that for 10 minutes. Got bored. There's some cool weapons. You can deploy mines to the top of the screen and stuff, and it's a bit more inventive than most shooters like that, but it's too easy. It basically doesn't work. Hopefully they can patch it. Paper Galactica, it's fine, don't bother.
If there's one thing I want in games, it's that it works. So I mean,
exactly. That's the problem.
It's not really sounding.
XBlig developers are now allowed to patch their games, so with any luck that'll get patched because it's a cool idea. It's 69p. That's right. So it's fine, but don't bother.
Fair enough. My number 9 is, I think it's also an indie game. It's a little number called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Why?
on the Xbox 360 Entertainment System. So what happened is I went to visit my uncle down in Bletchley, and he had 2 cousins there, youngish sort of fellas, and they were sitting in the front room playing this and Saints Row 3, and I mean, they shouldn't be. It's very naughty. It's an 18-rated game, but they were having the best time, and I sort of stopped and reflected on my own life and just thought, holy shit, I don't play games like this anymore. And what I mean by that is that in Modern Warfare 3, they weren't playing online, they weren't playing the campaign, they were just playing survival mode over and over again, and just laughing, and they knew every nook and cranny of every map, and they knew where all the enemies spawn, they knew all the tricks, they knew the best weapons, and they were upgrading their weapons and shit like that. When they were playing Saints Row 3, they were finding cars, taking them to the garage, and sort of applying every mod to them, and putting cheats in there to turn everyone into zombies, and all sorts of weird shit like that. And I just thought, I don't play games like that anymore. I sit down, and if I've got Modern Warfare 3, I play through the campaign, I sit and moan about it, or, I enjoy certain bits and try and defend it. I sit and play the multiplayer and get frustrated with that. And I don't play a game to sit down and just fuck around with anymore and see what happens. For 10 minutes, they were just shooting one guy that was already dead on the floor just to laugh at the physics. When was the last time you did something like that? You know what I mean? When we played GoldenEye back in the day, and we had a lot more time and not as much money to spend on different games, you knew everything about the dam. Not the dam level, but the dam. You knew that if you zoomed in with a sniper rifle, there's a weird, mysterious island further down there. Or if you jumped off the dam in a certain way, it would be a slightly weird cutscene afterwards and stuff like that. You knew everything about it. So I drove home constantly thinking of Modern Warfare 3, and I thought, when I get home, I'm just going to go back into my childhood, load up a survival mode, and just sit and play it for a few hours. About 3 minutes later, I realised it was bollocks, but that's besides the point. I just thought, wow. And I said, why aren't you playing Black Ops 2? And they were like, oh, we don't like that one as much. It wasn't like, I've got to have the latest game, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that. It was just they were playing simply for their own enjoyment, and I wanted to try and recapture that, and sadly I couldn't. I'm a grumpy old bastard now.
Exactly, that's the problem, isn't it?
What realisation that is.
Saying that, it's the best part of Modern Warfare 3 was that survival mode. Horde has been done to death, but that's one of the best iterations of it. So
I still think the closest I've got to that was when I think it was Modern Warfare 3, but we played it in Modern Warfare 2. It was the Spec Ops mode, and that really took over our life for a good month. To the point where because it was in 3 difficulty settings, so you'd have like easy, medium, hard, and you'd play it on easy to get the gold medal, then you play it on hard to get the gold medal on that, and then whatever. You went through the different tiers of the same level. So by the time you completed it on hard, you knew where everyone was, what you had to do, and you might have spent an hour on a single level, but you learnt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was the closest I've had to Time Splitters 2 since that game come out. So yeah, when it comes to Modern Warfare games, those Spec Op modes are so overlooked, yet they're probably the best thing that those kind of online games have done. It's so fucking clever.
Have they done? They haven't done Spec Ops in any other Call of Duty, have they?
I think it was Modern Warfare 3 they did it. And we never played it because never got around to doing it. I don't think Matt bought that one. But the other genius with it, and I wish they did it on FIFA as well, I've been crying out for this for years, is that you only needed one other partner. So when you get online, sometimes it's difficult to get 4 for like Left 4 Dead. Sometimes it's difficult to get a certain amount of people to have a good game of Battlefield or whatever. But when you're playing a game specifically designed for 2 people, it's always easy to just text your mate and say, do you want to play this tonight? And that's what you're playing. And I really want that with FIFA. They do the 11 versus 11 and they do the single player thing, but I wish they had 2-on-2 mode.
They do, so they do. I'm sure they do.
You can do it, but there's not a specific area for it. So like seasons, you've got seasons where you play and then you build up points and you get relegated or promoted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wish they had that specifically for 2 people. And they do if you've got someone in the room with you, but not if it's me, my mate Matt up in Leeds, playing 2 other people from around the country. I think it's sad that they don't do that properly, because I would kill for a mode like that. But yeah, reminiscing over a copy of Call of Duty of all things.
All right, so you're not going to go back to it and start smashing through it?
No, I hate the game, but it sent me back to a teenager again. That was nice.
All right, cool. Genuine. All right. Okay, all right. Well, my number 9 is a game called Ben 10 Alien Force: The Rise of Hex on the Xbox 360. Did you play this?
I played a Ben 10 game, but it was on the 3DS, not not the Xbox 360.
Okay, this was one of those things that for some reason, it got put onto the marketplace for free. For 2 days it was on. It's an arcade game that's normally 800 points. It was on for free by accident. Who knows? I don't know. I downloaded it to have a look, and it's I shouldn't judge it because I played it for about 20 minutes, but it's fucking awful based on that. It's a platformer, and you're Ben 10, and I don't know anything about Ben 10, so I don't know whether this is what he does. You have the ability. You bring up this wheel, and you can change into one of 12 characters, and all of the 12 characters do something different.
Oh man, this is exactly the same as the 3DS version.
It might be the same game. It might have come out on both. You pick at the beginning. There's only 2 available. One of them does something I can't remember. That's how little I care about this game. The second one does. He can activate. He puts electricity onto switches and then it operates switches. Basically, I started playing it and I got to a room where there's all these switches, and pressing one switch brings this door open. Pressing another switch brings that door open, and pressing the final switch brings that door open but puts the other one back. So you have to go back and press the switch and put the other one back, and then blah, blah, blah. A really basic run-of-the-mill puzzle. Did it again, exactly the same puzzle with different places, different things in different places. I was like, okay, that's a bit annoying. And then when it progressed a little bit further, and it did exactly the same thing again. One of the switches fucks you. You have to go back and press another switch you've already pressed. It was game designed by numbers, and it was fucking dull. It's only the 3rd level, I think that is, and I think there's something like 12 or 15. I don't care. It's bullshit. Why did you play it? Well, just it was free. I thought, maybe there's a chance that it was actually quite good. But I checked like Metacritic. It's got like a fucking Metacritic score of like -6,000. It's fucking crap. I feel cheated, and I didn't pay for the bastard.
2 things about that, right? The first being that you really do see what developers don't give a shit about their audience. When you go back and play a kids game, and the game instantly screams, they'll play any old shit.
Exactly.
You get that. But also, I don't know if you found yourself doing this, but every now and then I'll come across a platformer like Ben 10 on the 3DS, and it's shit. I hate it. It's full of frustrating deaths and fucking bollocks design. No thought into it whatsoever. But for some reason, I'm determined to get to the fucking end of it. Every now and then, one just it's as if to go, right, I'm going to play this piece of shit just to say that I've fucking done it. Like Kane and Lynch 2, I suppose. But
you hated that, didn't you?
Oh, it was appalling. You didn't like it, did you?
I think me and John were the only two people on the planet that actually really quite liked it. Yeah.
Fucking insane. That is literally one of the worst games I've ever been made to review.
It does work though. I mean, you can't say it's
barely.
You had problems with the mechanics of shooting and whatnot.
Yeah, man, because there was things like the graphic, the shaky cam and the lens flare off of every fucking lamp. So if you hid behind a desk that had a lamp on it, you could see fuck all. And I don't know, it was just a fucking mess, that game, from start to finish. But I was determined to beat it by the end because I'm mental.
It's only 4 hours. I'm surprised you hated it that much because I really enjoyed it. I thought it worked.
Did you play in co-op though?
I think I played it twice. I think I did it in single and co-op. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. You need putting down.
That's maybe true.
Right. Okay. So my number 8 is I took a leaf out of your book and went on the Xbox Live Indie Store.
Oh yeah.
And I found a game called Carn Age. His name is Khan, and I don't know where the age comes from, just to complete the ridiculous pun, I assume. It's a twin-stick shooter. The story is there's a sun sunbathing on the beach. When two scantily clad women walk past, the son gets furious about the women walking on his sand, and he runs up to them and burns them alive. Then you're this muscle man with a smoking gun firing at plants. That's the idea, and like crabs and shit. And the idea is you're on this sort of grassy lawn, and around it is sand. And if you go on there, you start losing life, but all the power-ups appear on there. It's actually not that bad. It's quite. It controls well. It's got some really interesting enemies, ones that rush you, that you can't shoot head on because they've got a shell in front of them. You've got to get around them and shoot them in the tail and stuff. There's one that pops out of the ground, and when it opens its eye you can shoot, but when it's opening its eye it is literally flinging hundreds of bullets at you. So you've got to really sort of think about your positioning and your shooting and stuff. And yeah, it's actually genuinely pretty good. But I always find with twin stick shooters, when you're playing a twin stick shooter, all you can think about is the best twin stick shooters.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're wondering why you're playing an average one when you could be playing something like Geometry Wars. And then I soon realised that and turned it off and played Geometry Wars. But yeah, I was surprised it worked. And from the opening cutscene, I thought it was going to be the biggest load of shit going, but it actually wasn't too bad.
Yeah, they have a tendency to surprise you, those kind of games. That sounds better than what was it called again?
Which one?
What, the game you just
Carn Age.
Carnage. Oh, Carnage. Carnage. Oh,
that's how tedious that pun was.
Carnage. I can't believe
it's spelled Karnn space AGE. So it's Carnage, but Carnage sort of.
How did you find this? Is it recent?
I went to the indie store and I just went into letters that appealed to me. And one of those letters was K, and Carnage was there. And I just thought, I looked at the cover and I went, this is the sort of thing Chet would click on. So that's what I'm going to click on. And I downloaded that. The one thing about the indie store that is weird is that if you download these games, it's actually quite a struggle to find them in your library.
Oh yeah, it does that. Yeah.
What is that about? Like, you have to really go hunting for them. They're not in your latest games, despite the fact that they're the latest game you've downloaded. You have to go into the indie side of things, and they're not even at the top of the list there. You have to scroll right to the end to try and find it. It's bizarre. Yeah, they don't make it easy, do they?
No. I mean, to be honest, they don't appear for ages. But if you just sit on recent games, they'll pop up. Occasionally,
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed exactly that. I was sitting there for ages, thinking, where the fuck is the second game that I was going to play? And then it just popped up, and I was like, why? What? Does the Xbox go? Nah, don't worry about that yet. I'm just letting you wait for a little bit before I let you play this game.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it is a bit strange. Yeah, it happens to me all the time. The amount of times I've downloaded a load of games and they just haven't been there, and I just sit there tapping my fingers like, come on, and they just pop up. That is weird.
You really shouldn't have to do that.
I know, especially not for fucking games like that, for Christ's sake. I'll wait for batters, but not one of those bastards.
Not Carnage. No.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, speaking of batters, my number 8 is Battlefield 3. It's not really my number 8. It would be my number 1, but I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. Me and my friends continue to play Battlefield 3. We still love it. I'm getting increasingly fascinated by rank 100 kernels. I don't understand it. Rank 100 is the highest rating you can get. Apparently, it's like Call of Duty where you can get to 100 and then restart. Basically, I don't know if that's true. There are a lot of there have been rank 100 kernels for years. I mean, I've been playing Battlefield 3 for almost 2 years, and there's been rank 100s for ages. I don't know who these people are. Are they adults with? Are they kids? Who has that much time? Because basically, I checked on I'm at the moment. Some might say I've played too much Battlefield. That's rubbish. I've played a lot of Battlefield, but I'm like level 73 or something. And this is 2 years worth of gameplay. I checked how long I've played, and it is over 500 hours. And that's over 20 something days of my life playing batters.
That's insane.
Exactly, but I'm only 73. How the hell have all of these people got to rank 100? Who are they? How do they have the time? I don't understand.
Maybe they're my cousins. Maybe that's what they do when they're actually home.
Yeah.
Fuck. No, it is crazy, but I suppose it's good because they've created a game that people love for that amount of time.
Yeah.
It's just, I think I stopped with batters because it's good for a blast every now and then, but I did kind of find it a little bit samey, and the fucking servers. You know what I mean? It wound me up so much. I sort of jacked it in. You killed me. You can't kill me in this server. Yeah. Bye. Fuck off.
Yeah, we just avoid anything that's not official these days. But yeah, I'm still enjoying it. But the problem is that I'm at rank 73 or 74 or whatever I'm at, and that's so dangerously close to 100 that it's kind of like I've got a few months, a couple of months to get to 100. Maybe I can fucking do it. I don't know.
No, 99. Get to 99 and then stop playing it.
Cut the cord. Yeah. But I've spoken about this before. Rank 100s behave in the most ridiculous ways. They always join each other. So if you're trying to balance a team and you've got 100 on that team, 100 on that team, they won't have it. They'll always join each other. They'll always quit if they're about to lose, and they'll always move teams if they're losing. The amount of times we've been hammering a team with loads of 100s, and we're like, "Fuck! I thought we were going to get creamed here," and we're smashing them. One by one, they move over to the winning team, so they don't have a loss on their record. Fucking weirdos! I don't get them. Anyway, batters is good. It's Gleam.
It's a good game. Right, my number 7 is also an indie game, and it's 2 games, so I'm kind of cheating, but they're under the same sort of, I don't know. They've got similar titles.
Yeah.
One of them is called Jake's Room, and the other one is called Jake's Discount Video Game. I don't know if they're the same Jake. If they're 2 separate Jakes, they both need to leave the industry. I mean, fuck me. Jake's Room is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bedroom that I assume belongs to a chap called Jake. You control a spaceship in the large bedroom, and your task is to shoot the toys in Jake's bedroom.
Oh fuck! I've played this. Yeah,
you move really fucking slowly to the point where I thought the accelerator button was broken. And you fire like these rockets that travel really slowly throughout the room. You blow up his toys, and then once I'd blown up all his toys, nothing happened, and I flew around a bit, and that was it. And then I aimed the spaceship to the floor, accelerated into it, and it sort of just bumped along the floor slightly, and I turned it off, and I just thought, I never want to. Is this what Chet does with his life? Does he sit here downloading indie games and crying? Because I was close to that. Jake's Discount Video Game, not much better. It was a weird platformer, like a 4-player competitive platformer where you try and play against other people. I had to set it to AI because there's no online play, and I'm pretty sure no one in the world was playing that game at the same time. Where you've got to jump on enemies' heads a ridiculous amount of times to kill them and hope that someone else doesn't push you off and jump on them. And I was sitting there going, what am I doing with my life? So I love the indie game store for games like One Finger Death Punch and Mount Your Friends and stuff. But then there's this, and it makes you wonder why you ever want to grace that side of the marketplace ever again.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
What a fucking mess. And the music, man, if you could find that Jesus Christ. It's just all over the place.
That's
It's crazy.
music in XSplit games is a real pleasure because you do find the most fucking. The music in XSplit games is often of an obscenely low caliber, and it's,
especially when the level is timed and it's like 5 minutes, but the music's like 45 seconds long, and it does that thing where it fades out and it leaves like 3 seconds of silence, and then it just starts up
straight
again.
Back in, yeah.
You just think, oh wow, that is ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure I've played the first one, but not the second one. Let me guess. Jay was another letter you fancied?
Yeah, it was. Yes, okay. So I went straight to Jay.
J.A.
Yeah, and now I hate a bloke called Jake, who I've never met. Okay. Fuck you, Jake.
Yeah, indeed. I second that. Okay, well, my number 7, I won't speak about this much either. My number 7 is Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo 3DS.
That's my number 6.
Oh, fuck. Okay, well, I'll hold off then. I'll wait. Hold on, that's your number 6 is next, isn't it?
Yeah. So why won't you talk about it? Like, you done with it?
No, I haven't. I've literally, my girlfriend went and she was going to go buy a couple of 3DS games. I said, buy Animal Crossing. People are raving about it. So she picked it up. She played it for a fairly significant amount of time, and then she just brought it around and said, "You take it. I'm not interested." So I started up a new game, and I've played it for, in total game time, probably about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and I don't really. I mean, the whole reason I wanted to play it is because I know already that I don't know what I think about it, and I still don't. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
I kind of get it. I kind of understand it, but I don't like it. It's a very strange game that seems to pride itself on its simplicity. When you just think if it was a little bit more complicated, or had a few more options or places to visit or whatever, it would be a lot better. I thought that I'd spent maybe about 3 hours on it in total, and I looked at my game time on my 3DS and it said like 23 hours or something like that. Wow. And I was like, wow, so I have actually spent a long time on this, and I'm going away tomorrow, so I'll probably play it on holiday a bit. But like, I don't know, there's not enough there. I said on Joypod a lot, I wish that you could set up businesses and set up your own shops and build, add to the economy in certain ways and stuff. And people go, well, you can do that. You can, in a way, but it's not fun and it's not really that profitable or rewarding to do. There's not enough reward for all the effort you put into the game. And even after 23, 24 hours, my town looks like shit. I don't like anyone that lives there, and I feel that I've done and seen everything that it's got to offer. So I'm with you on that. I don't really get it to the point where people are putting hundreds of hours into it, because you're literally doing the same thing every time you log on. And I suppose some people like that. They like the routine of it. I certainly don't.
Are you the mayor?
Yeah, everyone's a mayor in that one, aren't they?
Well, I don't know.
Start off as the mayor.
Because my girlfriend's still got her save on there, so I've come to a town where she's
the mayor of your town. Yeah. That makes sense.
How does that work then? Is it her responsibility to look after the town? If she leaves it, do I have to? How does that work?
Yeah, she basically controls it all, I think. But you're sort of like a guest. I don't know. I think you're just a villager in it. But you can add to the economy by going bug hunting and fishing and stuff, and
shaking some trees and
shaking trees and shit like that. Yeah. And then it's got like these weird mechanics that make you not want to play it. There's you've got like a hidden luck rating, and you can raise that luck rating by seeing fortune tellers and stuff like that. And what that means is that when you go bug hunting, there's a lot more rare bugs and stuff like that. But if your luck rating is really low, then every few steps that you run, your character trips over. So the amount of times I've logged in and run around and he trips over, and then you've got to wait for the animation for him to get back up and then continue running again. Like, he trips over the first time, I go, right, it's a bad luck day, I'm not playing today. Because that's bollocks. Yeah. It's fucking annoying. It's like someone just... It's like your DS just resetting every now and then. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it's part of the game. No, it's not. It's fucking annoying. Yeah. I don't mind it if it affected like the bugs and how rare the bugs are and stuff. But to actually hinder the gameplay as I'm running around, fuck that. It's annoying, man.
Yeah, I have to confess, I don't really understand it. I mean, I went and I shook some trees for some things, and I kept getting stung by bees. And then you have to watch this 3 or 4 Actually, it's probably closer to about 7 or 8 seconds. You're getting stung by bees, and you turn around and you've got all a puffy face, and I'm like, what? That keeps happening. So what, am I not supposed to get this stuff?
Well, later on, this is what it doesn't explain, is that later on, once you... Because it doesn't explain everything, and part of that's quite charming. So, like, I can tell you how to avoid and, you know, deal with that situation, but it doesn't tell you when you get stung. So you just think it's shit. Then what you do is, if you pump enough money into the local shop, it turns into a supermarket, and that supermarket sells medicine. So you keep medicine on you. If you get stung, you can use that and you're fine again. But like, you would never know that unless you actively went and looked it up or spoke to someone about it. And it's that sort of stuff that confuses me, because I didn't know that the shop could be upgraded by spending money in it. It wasn't until like someone told me about this supermarket, and I went on the internet and thought, well, how do I open that up? It was like, yeah, you've got to spend 10,000 bells in that shop. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's another thing I have to do.
Yeah.
We really are. I think we're just really grumpy people.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. But I still don't understand the game. I just don't understand it. I mean, admittedly, I've played it for 20 minutes, half an hour, but yeah, it's just genuinely weird.
You'll have moments where you'll get it. There'll be moments where you'll think, hold on, yeah, I like the fact that my town's expanding, and I like interacting with certain characters in the game. But then there'll be moments where you'll just think, why am I doing this tireless fishing and bug catching now? Because, you know, it's the only way you'll gain money, and the money you get from it's not... Look, the things you get to spend in the game, like you spend your money on in the game, it doesn't really feel worth it.
Yeah.
All the effort that you go through. So, I don't know. I've sort of put it down, and I haven't played it for a good few weeks. But as I say, I'm going away, so there's a chance that I'll get booted up on holiday, and maybe I'll get drawn back into it. But yeah, weird.
Yeah, a complete mystery to me, I have to say. I will continue to have a look, because it is nice to see how taken people are with it. But yeah, I don't know. At this point, it's not for me, but we'll see.
It's a shame. Right, it's your number 5 now.
6, isn't it? So that's your number 6, right?
Yeah, that was my number 6. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay, so my number 6 is Mass Effect 3. Again, I don't want to talk too much about it. I've closed the door on it. I've let it die. It's been sitting on my shelf amongst a million other games. I don't think you can be a hobbyist video gamer and enjoy, you know, attempting to play as much as possible and have a shelf with stuff that you want to go back to, because there just isn't time. There's just a constant influx of new stuff that you have to play. Yeah. And Mass Effect 3 has been sitting on my shelf for so long, I've kind of let it rot a little bit. So I went back to it. I completed it when it came out very quickly because I had to review it, and then I wanted to go back and play through it on my original Mass Effect 2 save. And I've been playing through it, and I found it quite dull, and it's a million reasons that I've thought about, but one of them is that I don't think it's as good as Mass Effect 2. It's so much less of a game. When I think back to Mass Effect 2, there was mini games all the way through it, scanning those planets for minerals, mini game, picking locks, there were just mini games all over it, and they've stripped all of that stuff away, and it kind of takes itself. Mass Effect 2 took itself quite seriously. It feels so much more serious than the second one. I do love it, and I really loved playing through it the first time, but it rarely stopped feeling like hard work when I was playing it a second time. And plus, my 2 favourite characters that have in the story are no longer with us. I suppose I can spoil shit this far after the fact, but yeah, my 2 favourite characters are dead, and I don't know. Mass Effect 2 was a game I played 3 times, and I played it when all the DLC came out, and I loved it so much. I think in retrospect, the problem with 3 is that it is just more of the same. Much as I like it, but coming back to it after all this time, I was playing it like I was doing it for fucking achievement points or some shit. I've put it to bed now. My memories of it are still positive, but I can't be bothered to finish it.
Yeah, I mean, with that game, there's a lot of the pleasure from that game comes from your emotional involvement with the characters, doesn't it? So if you've gone away from it, or if you're not as tuned into the story as you were when you first played it, I think it lose a lot of its magic, and it would just feel like a walk around dialogue game.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
with split up with combat. Like the DLC at the end of the last DLC they released was actually very good. I had some issues with it, but as a whole, it was actually pretty good. But I think it lost a lot of its love because you'd given up on those characters. You'd seen the ending, you knew how it all turned out, and so to go back and try and fall in love with characters that you'd already sort of had closure on didn't really work. So it was a shame, but yeah, I mean, it feels bad to be so negative about a game that is actually probably going to go down in history. Even if it is just for the ending.
To be honest, I wish I left it alone because I would still have 100% positive recollections of it. But it's really made me realise that you can't, if you want to finish something, where you want to dedicate some time to it, do it. Don't hold it back, unless it's a multiplayer game or something you're going to play with other people, and it's a different thing. It's a social thing rather than sitting and playing Mass Effect 3. And I was constantly thinking there's a million other games I could be playing right now that are brand new. But anyway, good game. I don't think I'll ever play it again.
Shame. Right, my number 5 is Saints Row 3.
Oh yeah.
Yes, this 3 because I was sitting there and I was thinking I really want to play Saints Row 4, and I was. When you get that sort of lust of wanting to play a new game and everyone's talking about it and you really want to be part of it, but then you look at your wallet and it's empty, like a moth flies out. I was in that situation. I just thought, do you know what? I haven't actually completed Saints Row 3, so I'll stick that in. And it's like I never left. It's what a game it is. It's so much fun. It's funny. It's made me laugh several times since booting it up again. So the comedy's not just completely dissolved because it's not a brand new game. So if you've not been sure if you want to get Saints Row 4 or if you can't afford it or whatever, sit and play Saints Row 3. You probably get it for £5 these days, and it's just brilliant fun. Yeah, because the reason why I stopped was I got probably about 2/3 of the way in, and then a friend of mine said, "How about we play this on co-op?" So I said, "Yeah, no, that'd be great." So it said, "Oh, do you want to start a new game in co-op?" So I said, "Yeah," and I played it, and then when I went to go back to my original save, it went back to my co-op save, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Maybe when I was flicking through the menus to start a new game, it was like, "You sure you want to overwrite your data?" So I must have hit yes at some point, and I completely lost everything. It's really frustrating. But now I'm further than where I was before, so it's all new to me now. Although I'm really disappointed I'm not playing Saints Row 4, I'm just going to complete this one and enjoy that, and then wait for Saints Row 4 to come down a bit, and then jump on that. But it was quite cheap when it came out anyway, wasn't it? It's like being sold as £35 in most places. So
Saints Row 3 or Saints Row 4?
Saints Row 4.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me at all. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I'll jump on that at some point. But it's so detached from GTA now that it does feel like a completely different experience, and I don't think it's going to spoil GTA 5 for me. So I'm quite happy just plodding around in this open world game at the moment.
Yeah, okay, fair play. No, I mean, it's a really close run thing, but I think Saints Row 3 is slightly better than Saints Row 4, just because I like the fact that it's relative. I mean, it's comedy throughout, but it's fairly straight-faced for the first half, and then it goes fucking bananas in the second. But yeah, it is funny. I remember Zemos is such a great character, the pimp with the vocoder in his voice box. Yeah,
he's pretty damn funny. I really like the ogre guy as well. Yeah, the Russian the mutant. Olad, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He's just really funny. Like he's just the way he acts and stuff, and how he tries to be a gentleman at all points, despite the fact that the other mutants that have been created are all like proper arseholes who just grunt and throw shit at you. I don't know. It's full of just these little really funny. There was a scene that I was watching the other day, and it was it's childish and stupid humour, but they go into a girl's house who she's very protective of her own personal space, and they find a dildo sword which is, you know, a sword with a massive long pink dildo on it. Yeah. And when they get caught going through her stuff, he hides it behind his back, but it's so big it sort of it extends further than his head, so you could just see like the tip of it flapping around like behind his. And I was proper laughing. I just thought, oh, games don't do that enough. Even games that I find funny, I'm not proper laughing at it, but Saints Row seems to just achieve that, even if it is, you know, puerile and stupid.
Yeah, I mean, Saints Row 3 and to the same extent 4 are games that, because I've been burnt. I'm trying to think of examples, but whenever anyone says, "Oh, play that, it's really funny," it's never funny. It's normally a little bit odd, or games don't traditionally make me laugh ever. And Saints Row, you know, when Saints Row 4 came out, and I'd say, play it, it's really funny. I used to say to people, I don't mean it's funny and like it's a little bit weird and the creators are being a little bit off the wall. I mean, there are jokes in it that seem like they came out of like the writer's room environment that writes The Simpsons. There are well-formed, genuine jokes in it. It's a comedy game, but also it works beautifully well as a game. But as a comedy, you know, that's where you have to categorise it, and it's genuinely amusing. But yeah, I'm glad to hear you're going to stick with it, because it goes out on a huge high, the third one.
No, that's my game now. I'm going to play that until my next game is GTA 5. I'm going to play that until GTA 5. But yeah, I mean, the only other game that really fucking made me laugh that much was Blood Dragon.
That's a good example.
I had some hilarious moments in that. So yeah, they're rare, and I hope that's the next thing that games writers sort of get to grips with is comedy. Because, you know, we've really sort of broken into emotional involvement into video games, as I'll talk about later. But in terms of comedy, it's very rare, and you know, we all know that comedy is a subjective thing, and I'm not saying that games aren't funny, and if you're laughing, you're an idiot, because you're not. If you find something funny, it's funny. But there's never really been many attempts at a comedy game, and I think Saints Row and Blood Dragon are up there.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, yeah, it's good. It's good.
It is good. Okay, all right. Well, my number 5 is Hotline Miami on the PlayStation 3. This is my encounter with Hotline Miami. I mean, you even said that you thought I'd like it. Everyone I know said they thought I'd like it, and I really just absolutely adore it. Part of the beauty of it is that I don't have to review it. I feel no need to rush through it, and it's basically turned into my PlayStation 3's version of Rock Band Blitz on the Xbox. Every time I turn my Xbox on, I've got to do a couple of songs on Rock Band Blitz, and every time my PS3 goes on, I've got to do have a little bit of Hotline Miami. I haven't finished it yet. I think I'm on level 12.
I think I'm up to the same bit. Have you got to the bit where it starts getting all weird and cutting out and doing some interesting stuff?
No. I mean, maybe I'm earlier than 12. And I think you're probably
just before the level or something. Yeah, just after the nightclubs when it starts going loopy.
Okay.
So yeah, you're there.
Yeah, but it's so nice to have a game that you just don't have to rush through. It's a problem you shouldn't complain about. But if you write about games for a living, it can be rushing through things is detrimental. It shouldn't have to work this way, but unfortunately that's the way it is. But it's so nice. Every time I turn the PS3 on, I just do a level, and it's so fucking good. It's as good as everyone said it was.
Do you get that weird hollow feeling in your legs after you play it? Like, so, I don't know if it's my body reacting to the violence, or if it's how much concentration it asks of you, or what. But when I come away from playing that for about an hour or so, I feel like, you know, a kind of sense of shock where my legs kind of feel hollow, and I'm like, all I can think about is, you know, the actions of the game. And if I play it just before bed, I really freak out. Maybe that's just me, my weird mind. But fuck yeah, it affects me like many other games don't. Like, I'm really sort of used to violence in video games now. Everyone's talking about how gory and violent The Last of Us was, and I really didn't find that. It didn't affect me in that way at all. Whereas Hotline Miami, it does, which is weird because it's so, you know, it's got that sort of NES style graphics or SNES style graphics. Yet for some reason, when I'm bashing someone's head in that, it affects me more than it did in any other video game.
Yeah, I suppose I can understand that. I mean, the thing that I don't think Hotline Miami could ever affect me in that kind of way because I'm so in awe of how well it works just mechanically.
Yeah.
So I there's a certain detachment when I'm playing it. I can't get. You know, John always spoke about how weird he found it when the music goes all ski whiff and you're wandering out of the house with all the dead bodies there. I'm like, that doesn't affect me because I'm still amazed that I pivoted in a third of a second and took 3 people out and then hammered a dog, and I'm just like, all of that happened. The fact that it can allow you to do that, it's executed perfectly. And anybody who's played it on PC, I can understand if you've played it on PC and you think there's no way it could work on a console. They've made it work as fucking damn close as you can possibly get.
Does it play like a twin stick shooter then? Do you point with the second stick where you're firing, or what?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. It is essentially a twin stick shooter, but the controls are so slippery and they're so close to how it is on a mouse and keyboard that you can't really do any. It's hard to describe actually, but they've tried to replicate the experience as close as it can be on a pad. So it's not a traditional like aim here, shoot. You're at odds with the controls the whole time. You feel like you're sort of dancing on ice the whole time. You know, when you do something perfectly, it's a miracle. So it's still quite a difficult game, but God, it's fucking exciting, and I love it. It's kind of like Trials in that you're constantly restarting, and but it's not near infinite. The content on Trials Evolution is near infinite, and part of the appeal of that initially was people texting you saying, "Oh God, I've fucking beaten your score." I'm happy to not have that. That invitation to dedicate the rest of your life to it, I kind of resent. So I hope the Hotline Miami 2 doesn't go mental with content. I hope it's the same taut package that's I hope there's a
point to it. This feels like there's a point to it and a story and it's going somewhere. If it loses that, I think it might lose some of its appeal. But I think going back to the mouse and keyboard thing, I think the reason why people think it's impossible to do on a pad is because there's moments where when you're playing on a mouse and keyboard, because you've got the crosshair on there, you can bust down a door while making sure the crosshair is on the right person and being extremely accurate with your shots.
Oh yeah, you can do that as well. You do that with the right stick, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't know if you're pointing the right stick in the right place, though, are you? It's kind of a little bit of guesswork and then aim reacting to where you're actually shooting, surely.
Well, no, because there is a crosshair. You aim it where you want it to go.
Oh, right, okay. So there's still... what, do you pull a trigger then?
Yeah, triggers are R1, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that's more interesting then. I didn't know that. Yeah, that makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
It's £6. It's I mean, if you played it on PC, obviously there's not a whole lot of point. But I as someone who hasn't played the PC version, I totally understand anybody who thinks that it wouldn't work. But I'm full of admiration for how they've made it work as well as they have, because it doesn't. I mean,
judging by what you've just said, I can see it working a lot better, because I just assumed it was like Geometry Wars style. When you push the stick, he shoots.
No.
But no, if you still got that trigger, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah. No, it's fucking great. Love it to bits.
Excellent. Right, okay, my number 4 is Plants vs Zombies 2.
Oh yeah.
On iOS devices. It's good. It's just not great, you know. And I think because it does tend to start feeling very samey, not only to the game that's presented to you, but the game that came before it. It's got some nice, new additions, but they're nothing more than that. They're not game changers. They don't adapt the way that you play the game. I'm still using the same strategies as I did on Plants vs Zombies 1, and although I really like what EA have done with the in-app purchases, to the point where they pretty much non-existent, it just kind of feels a little bit empty. It hasn't got the sort of progression you got with the first one, and I think it was a little bit too ambitious in places. The only thing that's keeping me playing are the animations, literally the animations, because it's wonderfully animated from the zombies to the plants. Everything about it is wonderfully put together. I love the fact that some of your plants finish off a zombie with an uppercut. I love the fact that you can turn the hard shells into like steel, like put armor around them and stuff, and it all the whole, all the characters sort of react to things in different ways. It's wonderful, and seeing the pirates swinging onto the boats and stuff it looks fantastic. It's just, in terms of gameplay, it's far too similar to the first one, and the stuff that it does offer is either not essential. You could ignore it completely, or you know, in certain cases, it makes the games too easy. And Plants vs Zombies was never a hard game in the first place. So, yeah, a little bit disappointed, to be honest. But what I have played it, you know, I've enjoyed it, and I've played it for free, so I can't complain too much, you know.
When you say that the microtransactions are basically non-existent, what do you mean? Do you mean they're not at the forefront, or that they're...
Well, yeah, no, I mean, there's loads of stuff to buy, loads of stuff, and it is really expensive. You know, I haven't seen a 69p, you know, price tag on anything. It's all like 1.99 and stuff like that. And some of the stuff is actually quite shit what you're paying for. You know, I never like in-app purchases where you can use them up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so if I pay, like iOS FIFA, you can pay for a bigger budget, but if you spend that budget in the game, it's gone. That's it. That's your money gone. And in certain cases with Plants vs Zombies, you can buy specific plants, and they're there for the rest of the game. You're basically unlocking them. But there's other things where you buy coins to spend on power-ups, but obviously once you use the power-ups, that's it. That's your money gone. Not sure I like that. No. However, it gives you enough in-game money not to feel the need to use it. So, I don't know. There's not been any point where I feel that I'm being forced to pay for something. So in that sense, it's good. But I kind of wish they didn't try and be as ambitious with it as they are, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to do. There's all these challenges and all these different worlds and stuff. But ultimately, it just feels like Plants vs Zombies, and although that was fun the first time round, it's a little bit tiresome the second.
Yeah.
So yeah, shame. If you've not played it before, though, definitely get it, because Plants vs Zombies is amazing, and this is coming from someone that hates tower defense games. So yeah, this one's a good one.
It's completely free, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a free-to-play game, so it does rely on in-app purchases, and I'd be interested to see how much they've made from it, because for a game that doesn't really ask, like, it doesn't force you to spend money on it, unlike games like, say, Candy Crush Saga, I'd like to see how it compares to how much money they made off the first one.
Do you like it enough? So if the in-app purchases ever irritate you, would you ever pay 800 points, a £5 or a £10 or something to have it on console? Would you not play it on a console?
It's certainly not a game that I would play on a console, because it relies so much on touch controls, like collecting the sun and stuff. And they've made that really interesting with the Xbox pad. I played the first one on the Xbox 360, and the way they, you know, they made it really easy to use. But it just feels so at home on an iPad more than anything else, because on an iPhone it can be quite, you know, really the small screen doesn't help it at all. You can tap the wrong things and stuff like that. On an iPad, it's a big enough screen to really sort of, you know, you really get the sense of what the game's about. But no, I because I played so much of the first one, I think I literally played through that game about 4 or 5 times. I don't think the second one's not got enough to make me want to pay for the full version on the Xbox. So no.
Okay.
Shame.
Yeah, I never really responded to the first one, but I might take a look at the second one, because I need some new stuff on my iPad. So
yeah, give it a go. It's a perfect holiday game, because it's the sort of game that you can sit down and play one game of, or sit down and play 3 or 4. Yeah, it's, you know, it's good in that regard, but it's certainly not the sequel that I wanted.
Did you play that game I spoke about a few weeks ago on the iPad called Cargo Bot?
No, what's that?
It's an awesome game where you pre-program a crane in a warehouse. It's unbelievably simple, but it's completely free. Cargo Bot. Download it before you go on holiday. That's a really fucking great iPad game.
Download that and play it in it'll join the Mile High Club, Chet.
Okay, well that sounds gleaming. Don't forget though, Cargo Bot.
I'm literally typing it into my iPhone now.
Okay, good, because I don't think it works on iPhone, but iPad, get it sorted.
Okay.
Okay, my number 4 is, sorry, it's another one I don't really want to massively go into detail about because I've spoken about it.
You should give up this podcasting.
No, it's only because it's been a funny week. I've spent a lot of time playing games I can't talk about. So I have played these games, but I've spoken about them so many times. I mean, yeah, my number 4 is Rock Band Blitz. I'm so completely madly, passionately in love with it. It's one of my favourite games of all time. I don't know. I've started posting videos of my playthroughs onto our YouTube channel to the audience of 0 people.
One, because I sat and watched that today.
Oh, did you? Exciting, was it?
It's quite interesting to watch because it's certainly how I wouldn't play it, but I can't imagine myself adapting to each track as quick as you did. It was insane.
You have it, don't you? You own it, but you've never played it.
Yeah, I've got it. No, I put about 2 or 3 hours into it, and I didn't get it. I didn't understand what it was asking of me.
Yeah,
I was concentrating on one track and then moving on to the next one, and then with frequency, what you do is you sort of activate each part of the song, and you move on, and then while you're not on that part of the song, it's still playing, and then once the drums cut out, you're like, okay, well, I've got to get. It's like spinning plates, kind of.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it just looks like go mental. Do you know what I mean? Just flick between them constantly, and it never came across to me that that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, because basically every section of a song you can only get to a certain number of. So the first one you can only get to ×4. That's the maximum that every track can get to. So the idea is get every track to that level, and then you use your multiplier to go on the track that you've got as a super. It sounds complicated, it's really not. But the way you have to adapt from different songs and use different techniques, I just think it's a masterpiece. But like you, this is a game I was waiting for, counting the days for, and I downloaded it the second it came onto the marketplace, and I didn't get it for the first few hours either. It's only sort of... One thing I will say about it, I've realised that it's probably sacrilegious to say so, because the whole game is built with 5 tracks: guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and keyboard.
Is it? Yeah.
Obviously, if you've got downloadable content from past Rock Band games, they don't have keyboard sections. With 4 sections, I think it's a better game. It's too much to worry about with an extra with the fifth track, and it's because keyboards in almost all of the songs that are on the game as it comes new. The tracks that are actually part of Rock Band Blitz, the keyboard parts are always kind of sporadic, so you have to chase them, and if you don't get them up, because if you can't get the multipliers up, the next track you can only go up 2 multipliers rather than 4, or it restricts how high your scores can go. Yeah, I don't know. I love it so much. Me and my girlfriend are having score battles every day. I love it. Again, it's like Trials. Part of the appeal of Trials was getting texts saying, "I've beat your score," and then it just got to be annoying because it was just like you being harassed. But seeing as it's just the 2 of us are involved, it's quite mellow and laid back and good. I love it so much. I tried to look at it objectively the other day, and I looked at one of the achievements, and I thought, because I love the game almost as much as I've ever loved a video game. And I tried to step back and think about it, because some people were quite unkind about how aggressive it is about spending money on tracks. And there's an achievement. I can't remember what the achievement's actually called, but the blurb underneath it says, "Harmonix thanks you kindly for playing 300 different songs." And I thought, what that really means is Harmonix thanks you for buying 300 pieces of downloadable content.
Yeah, that's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, thinking about it, well, I don't know.
Have you got that achievement?
Yeah, I got it ages ago. But you can cheat it if you buy old Rock Band games. There's a code on the manual that allows you to download all of those songs. So I had 300 before I downloaded any from the marketplace. But I love the game so much, I keep downloading it. I love it, but I've talked about it way too fucking much.
You have. So let's move on to my number 3, which is a game John talked about on the last show called Gone Home.
Oh, yeah.
It's a look around and read things game. And I think I played it in the perfect environment. It was late on a Friday night. I had a beer and all the lights were off, and I just sat and played it, and I totally got immersed in this house that the game is set in. It's incredible, but I fucked it up. And I said, I'm probably the only one in the world that can fuck up a game where I'm just looking about. And what happened was, I will not spoil this, but there's a bit at the end where it's kind of alluding to something, and I totally fell for it, and I thought it was going in one place, but it wasn't. So the last section I rushed through with like just looking at the floor because I didn't want to see what I think it was wanting me to see.
Yeah.
And then I got to the end and missed like a major plot point. And by the end, I was like, well, I don't get it. I don't understand what's happened. And then you can reload into the house. And then I found the journal piece that I missed. And I was like, oh, fuck, of course. That's what happened. But it's incredible because it's a game where you play as a character and you know less about the character you're playing as, and you don't give a shit about not knowing about this character than you do people that you don't even see. There's characters in this game that you don't see a picture of. You don't hear a voice. You don't hear their voice or anything. You in some cases, you don't even see their handwriting, but you know this person through the way that their rooms are in the house. Because in normal big houses, certain people in the family make them their certain rooms their own, and they put their own bits and pieces around the house. And you'll find DVDs that obviously belong to certain people. At the moment, not DVDs because it's set in the 90s, but you'll find like some recorded tapes, and you'll know which character in this game they belong to without even meeting the character, because you build up their personality by reading notes, diary entries, letters, even news articles about certain characters. And although there's a main plot thread throughout the game, there are so many different other plot threads, and some you'll pick up on, some you'll completely miss. There was one that I had convinced that I knew what had happened to this person, and then when I read about the bits that I'd missed, it was a character that I had a lot of sympathy for. I realised that they were a complete arsehole and I shouldn't have had. But I liked that. I like the fact that I missed that stuff. It's just a shame that I missed a really important part of the main story right at the very end. But massively recommended. It's just a bit pricey at the moment. It's like 14 quid. But if you got the money, you can't go wrong for like an hour and a half's worth of entertainment. It's really, you've got to try it.
Yeah, it does interest me a lot because there are conflicting opinions. I mean, I think it was John. Didn't John say the Eurogame was 6? Was it a 6 out of 10 they gave it? And
I don't know. I'd like to read that review now actually, because I want to see. There's not much you can pick holes in, other than it's not really a game. You walk around and read stuff, and there are some real cliched and obvious things that happen in it, but it didn't. I don't know. It's just that it didn't anger me because the characters in it felt that they were at a stage in their life where they were following this cliched nonsense, so it kind of fit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There was some real sort of complicated relationships going on in the game, and that was fine. But when it comes to sort of the teenage younger sister, she was leading a very cliched story, but because she was a younger sister in high school and stuff, it kind of fit, because it was just, she was at that age where things were simple and obvious. It was just very, very well written. It's a really simple story told well. And in that respect, it reminded me a lot of The Last of Us, because I think there's this weird thing in video games where stories try to be a little bit overcomplicated, and I don't know whether that's to justify the length of them or to justify, because they think they're speaking to a more intelligent audience or something. I'm not sure. But when you scale down a story and tell it right, it actually makes it a better story than a more complicated one. Yeah. If you know what I mean. And I think this is what this game does really well. Really, really recommended. And if a donut like me can enjoy it, then I'm sure many other people can too.
Did you play it on a Mac?
I did, yeah. It had a couple of problems with the Mac. It really, like I was playing on my MacBook, so that really got overheated because it was trying to process so much. Graphically, it was fine. There was no frame rate dropping or anything like that. But the loading times were ridiculous. The first, I think it only loaded once, but that initial loading took, I think it was roughly 15 to 20 minutes. And I was like, whoa. It was just like a loading screen. And I thought, is this crashed? I don't know. It was really bizarre. But once I was in the game, it's perfectly fine. Everything works great.
Okay. Yeah. So despite the price point, you still recommend people pick it up?
If you've got the money, yeah, go for it. But it will probably be cheaper in a month or so, I think.
Yeah.
So just sort of keep it at the back of your mind that when you see it going for cheap, you should definitely play it, just to see what you think of it. Really, it's one of those sort of games. You might come away thinking, well, that was a boring mess, but if you play it in the right way, or if you don't mind it not being a game as such, then I think you'll really enjoy it. I did.
Fair play. Okay, yeah, I want to be part of the conversation, so I'm going to have to pick it up.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to you about this. I'd love to talk. I think John's going to be at Eurogamer, so I'll talk to him about it then. But yeah, it's the sort of game that I really want to talk to people about. So I'm looking forward to chatting. I know Sean's completed it. We've texted a few times, and we were sort of just comparing notes on it. If we didn't actually make notes, but we were like, what did you think of this bit, and what do you think about that character and stuff? And we actually revealed stuff to each other just by chatting about it. And I love games like that.
Yeah,
I really do.
Fair play. Okay. Well, yeah, it's definitely on the cards. I'll check it out ASAP.
Do it.
Do it. Okay, all right. Well, my number 3 is Saints Row 4. I spoke about it several weeks ago, and I finished it. You might remember if you heard that show. I got to a point where I couldn't progress, and I was writing a review for it, and I had to write a passage saying, my review, I've written it, but I didn't finish the game. The final 3 missions I couldn't complete because it hung on a menu screen, and apparently it's happened to lots of people. The best way I can describe my reaction to the game is that despite the fact that I physically could not finish it, I still gave it 8 out of 10. That was without the last 3 missions, and now I've finished the last 3 missions. Incidentally, if this happens to you, I've heard that there's some people have beaten it with having multiple saves, but this can happen at any point in the game. It happened to me towards the end. If you pick up a certain audio log at a certain time, I don't know what triggers it, but basically, if you're getting to a point where you do it after an action sequence, the menu screen just hangs there and you have to restart your console. All you have to do is do that mission again, but don't use any explosive weapons. So just use your pistol and your melee weapons, and that's it. That's fine. Just in case anyone else gets stuck on that bit. Yeah, it's the end of the games didn't blow me away like the end of the Saints Row the Third, which is one of the reasons I think the third one's better than the fourth. But it was consistently good. It recreated one of my favourite film scenes completely unexpectedly, which was brilliant. There were some really, really great gags, and the final cutscene was, I'm pretty sure, I might be misremembering, but I think the final cutscene is very similar to the final cutscene at the Saints Row the Third. That didn't make it any less amusing or brilliant. The game's great. The only thing, my only worry about it is that that's what I've always wanted in a sandbox game. It's Grand Theft Auto, but with superheroes, and none of your actions have any consequences at all. So there's just missions where you just blow fucking shit up with a rocket launcher, and any collateral damage is part of the fun. I don't know. I just love being able to sprint up the side of buildings and fly. And GTA is a different fucking thing. It's so different, it's not even true. But I don't know how. There's all, in every Grand Theft Auto, there's things that there's kind of militantly. It's like that in the real world, so just fucking deal with it.
I think the biggest example of that between Grand Theft Auto 4 and Saints Row 3 that I noticed the other day that I'd completely forgotten was, if you want to go for a mission in Grand Theft Auto 4, you've got to drive over to a place and then hit a checkpoint. Yeah. If you want to do a mission in Saints Row 3, you press select and ring that character up, and then you're in the mission. And you just kind of think, oh, God, that is a real good way of just fucking off that whole, oh, God, now I've got to drive over there, now I've got to get to there. You know what I mean? It's just, I ring them up and then I'm in the mission. Yeah, and Saints Row sort of represents that. It's like, okay, we know all the shit that you dislike about these open world games, and we're going to work around them. You know what I mean? There's the rampage missions that, you know, a lot of people dislike because all of a sudden you've got to, at the end of the rampage mission, you've got to suddenly lose the cops, and that's a tedious process. In this, it just goes, okay, rampage mission over, no cops. You know, and it's shit like that you really appreciate. But I'm not sure would work on like a proper Grand Theft Auto game.
Oh no, no, not at all. I mean, they are so very different, but there is always. I'm trying to think of it. I mean, in Grand Theft Auto 4, for me, it was just the police were so fucking hardcore. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, you clip someone's wing mirror, you just like, oh, for fuck's sake, I'm now in a fucking police chase. Otherwise, I have to put you know. And there've always been elements of that where you can just feel the creators saying, deal with it. That's how it is in the real world. Well, at the same time, they throw caution to the wind in other areas, but. Honestly, Saints Row 4 is as fucking buggy and glitchy and basically fucked as it is. It's a superhero, more so even than Crackdown. It's a superhero Grand Theft Auto, and I'm interested because we'll all be playing Grand Theft Auto in a few weeks, so I'm interested to see how it affects it. Because I'm pretty sure. Did
you ever play a game called Mafia 2?
I did. Really liked it.
Yeah, I loved it as well. But I mean, that was crazy how they set the police up and that, where if you broke the speed limit, they would chase after you and shit like that. I remember that just being crazy. Just thinking, what are you doing? How is that any fun whatsoever?
Yeah, no, I agree.
It's nuts.
Yeah, well, I'll be interested. But yeah, Saints Row 4, if you're thinking about partaking, it's a fucking riot. It's a laugh riot, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun to play. You can do it on co-op. I haven't done that yet. I plan to at some point, and I'm looking forward to whatever DLC they create for it. But yeah, it's as fucked as it is. It speaks volumes that I gave it 8 out of 10 despite the fact that I couldn't even finish the bastard. It's great. It really is really terrifically entertaining.
I'll definitely play that at some point.
Nice.
Right, my number 2 then is not a game. It's a peripheral. It's the Guitar Hero guitar. No, it's I got the chance to try out the Oculus Rift, or Oculus Rift, some people are calling it. I've heard it both ways. Which is, if you haven't heard of it, it's a sort of independently developed device that started, I think, on Kickstarter. And it was one of those things that you saw and think, that isn't going to be as good as they're promising. And it fucking is. It's a VR headset that, you know, do you remember virtual reality back in the 90s?
Definitely,
It was just a fucking mess. This isn't. It's a lightweight headset with a screen for each eye that wraps around each eye so you can't see out of the screen, and has one-to-one tracking movement for your head. And it was funny because I played this at an event, and I went, and it was in a busy bar in London. And the first time I put it on, I was like, this is not anywhere near as good as I'd hoped or had been promised, and I was really disappointed. I put it down, and then a little bit later in the night I noticed that there was one going again, so I picked it up, went on it, and I spent a lot longer on it. I spent about half an hour on it, and within, I'd say, about 5 to 10 minutes, I'd completely forgotten that I was in a bar. So the game I was playing, I didn't catch the name of it, but it was a dog-fighting spaceship game. The graphics were surprisingly good because I know they haven't got high definition yet. So when you first put it on, it's like you're looking really close at a television.
Yeah.
But then as you get used to the screens, your eyes relax and you sort of ignore that side of things, and it's nowhere near as bad as some people are reporting. And see, the whole idea of VR headsets is to immerse you into a video game world, and I think there's certain. I've seen a lot of demos of this, and there's a lot of them are trying to recreate first-person shooters, and I think that's the wrong way of going about what this headset's about, because suddenly you become disconnected when you're walking, like your character's walking, but your legs aren't moving because you're sitting in a chair or you're standing up and pressing forward on a stick. When you're playing games where your body's tied down or your body's not in use, so for example, a racing game, this spaceship game, if you're on a roller coaster or something like that, suddenly it becomes a lot more real, because although I can't feel like a steering wheel in my hand, or I don't feel like I'm steering a ship, I still feel like I'm controlling something with my hands. And I'd say that after a little while of just sort of getting used to having this thing on my head, I'd completely forgotten that it was on my head. And I'm sitting there, I'm flying around, and there was this really wonderful moment that could have been straight out of an advert for the fucking thing, you know, the overreacting people playing Connect or whatever and laughing and joking. So I was sitting there in this spaceship, and I looked over to my right, and I saw an enemy aircraft, and I was like, right, I'm going to that. And my body was fully aware that I was looking to the right, and that my crosshairs and my guns were aimed straight ahead of me. So I moved the stick over to move my spaceship towards it and started firing. And as I was firing, I looked over to my left just to have a look to see if there was any other spacecraft about. And I saw one, and I thought, right, I'll get that bastard off. I'm done with this. I looked forward, and while I was looking to my left, the guy I was chasing had turned around and was flying straight at me. And my body instantly went, fuck. I've got to get out of the way. And as I was moving, I was sort of squirming in my seat to try and move away from this thing that was coming straight towards me. And once I'd got away from that, a HUD appeared in front of me with someone chatting, like I was getting orders. And it was like, as we've seen in loads of these games, where there's like a little box in the corner, flashes up, and someone's talking to you, and the animation's going and stuff. It all looks nice. Well, in this, it appeared, because it's 3D, because you've got a screen for each eye, it sort of just appeared right in front of me. And although it was there and this person was talking, I didn't have to look at it. I could look around, and so in my head, it was actually there. It was part of the ship, and I totally lost myself. You know, after a while, I was sitting there thinking, shit, this is a real big step forward. It's better than 3D. It's better than, you know, this the Wiimote and stuff like that. This is a real thing that could transform racing games and, you know, flying games and stuff like that. This could be a huge step forward. And with the news that's sort of breaking that Sony are going to announce their own VR headset, if it's anywhere near this, then we are in for a treat in the next generation, and this is going to be the next big thing. You can shove your camera games, you can shove your augmented reality stuff, because this is it. This is real, and it will make you play games and experience games like you never have before. And by the time I had left, I was buzzing. I went from thinking this is overhyped nonsense to thinking this is a game changer, and I was just constantly thinking of all the games that I love playing and how this would affect me playing them. I'm one of those people when I play racing games where I have to look at the car, you know, so the camera's outside of the car.
Yeah, me too, yeah.
With this, I will never do that again. I just imagine looking up and looking at my rear view mirror, or looking down and changing gears, or, you know, turning my head to judge a corner as I'm approaching it without having to turn my car in any way, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense. It's amazing, and I really hope Sony have sort of matched it. I mean, it'd be even better if they say, right, we've hired or we've bought Oculus Rift, and that's what we're bringing to the console market. But I'm not sure. I don't know if they will. But yeah, fuck. Wow, you've got to try it. You've not tried one yet, have you?
No. This was in the Virgin Media thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's called Virgin Media Game Space, and what it is, it's just a bar set up with loads of screens and consoles, like we've seen so many times before. But the thing you sort of notice is that there's no first-person shooters on show or any big-budget titles. It's all indie games, and that's what they're sort of pushing onto the public, that there's these indie games and that video games aren't these big scary things with really hard controls, and that they can be very accessible and unique. And they had free Oculus Rift headsets there, and it's free. It's in Shoreditch, and it's free to go along. So if you're near that area, I wouldn't say that the game space is worth travelling to, because there's not actually that much there. But if you're near that area, then you should definitely jump on the tube and go and check it out. Because, yeah, as I say, you can walk in and try it out for nothing. I think there's going to be a small game space set up in the Eurogamer Expo as well in a few weeks. So if you see that, ignore the queues for the next Call of Duty game and queue up for Oculus Rift, because that's the future. That's and hopefully you'll like it as much as I did. Fuck, video games are going to be mental. Not only that, it kind of made, you know, that whole Illumi room and even Connect. It makes it look embarrassing. You know, the whole idea with that stuff is to try and immerse you into the games you're playing. This does that more than anything else that's come before it. You know, even, you know, when you're playing Guitar Hero, there are moments where you feel that you've got a real guitar in your hand and that you're on stage and playing with a band. This does more than that. It puts you in a fucking cockpit. And, yeah, fuck. Honestly, you need to try this out.
Did they not was there no information about what they're doing with it, where it's going? Have they not?
Well,
I mean, just as a thing, is it? I mean, they if Sony announced they'd bought it, that would be quite expected, I guess, because I've heard so much about the tech. I just don't know what they're doing with it.
Well, the tech is. Someone told me at the Game Space that I'm not 100% sure is true, that it's all off the shelf stuff that can be put together by anyone, so it's not exactly patented or anything like that. So that's a worry for the creators. But no, what they're continuing to develop it for PC at the moment. There's a lot of people doing a lot of stuff with PC. You know, like the likes of someone's modded it to work with Grand Theft Auto. Someone's made it work with Mirror's Edge and stuff like that. What I want someone to do is make it work with F-Zero X or Wipeout or something like that, where, you know, you haven't got that disconnect of your characters moving their body but you're not, because I think that's where this sort of tech will shine. But at the moment, I think it's just solely looking at the sort of indie video game scene, and the sooner someone like Sony or Microsoft announce that they've got one coming out for their console, the better, because if it's, you know, if it's, say it's £200, I think I would play that. I think I'd buy that. You know, it's just a USB thing. You plug it in, and then it'll work with a bunch of games. Oh, fucking hell! I just thinking about it now. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Well, if it is as incredible as you say it is, it can't be long before either Microsoft or Sony announces that they've either bought it or they've approximated that technology. So fuck yeah! If I get an opportunity, I'm going to jump on it. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, if you get down to Eurogamer, then it's the sort of thing that you really should queue up for. Yeah. And not a game that's coming out in a couple of months, you know.
Fair play. Fuck, that sounds great.
It is great.
Okay, all right. Well, my number 2 is Killer is Dead on the Xbox 360. I spoke about it last week. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it. I'm playing through it again on hard mode. One thing that I've heard a lot of noise about, to the extent where it's pretty much common knowledge, or it's like accepted. It's accepted that there's terrible amounts of screen tearing on both versions of Killer is Dead. I played the 360 version. Apparently, that's the worst of the two. And you can see the video review we put on our YouTube channel is just footage from my playthrough, and I can't see any screen tearing. Did you have any?
Yeah, I had this argument with Garnet Lee on Twitter. He said, it's disgusting for screen tearing. I noticed it a lot in the first level, and I noticed it quite a bit in, I think it was level 6 that was set in that sort of traditional, I suppose, traditional Chinese garden type thing, where you're fighting all the samurai.
Oh, right, yeah, another one.
Who I think are Japanese, so I'm being incredibly ignorant here. But yeah, I noticed it on those two levels, but not so much in anything else. So yeah, I think it's been overblown because we haven't seen screen tearing for a long time. All of a sudden, it's back in this. It's a huge problem that ruins the game. I don't think it does.
Yeah, no, like I said, I've heard a lot of talk about it, and I didn't expect. To my memory, I don't remember anything. I'm playing through it a second time. I've not seen any, so it must be dependent on your playthrough. I don't know. I've never heard anything like it. People are so adamant that it's just, but it just seems to be like very similar to a Dead Island situation where all manner of problems reported, and some people just coasted by without encountering any of them. So it's dependent on the playthrough. I still feel about it the way I did when I spoke about it. I still think it's really, really entertaining, and it's going to sustain the entertainment. It's going to sustain me to the end of a second playthrough. I think it's not his best game. but it's really fun. I like it a lot. I've got a lot of time for it. I've said plenty on the matter. It was interesting to see the reviews come out because some of them were just deranged, frankly.
Yeah, yeah, they were.
And some of them were just. There was a quote. I twittered it, and it was a quote from the Eurogamer review, and I can't remember what it said. But it's the most perfect. That summarises so much about how so many games writers think about themselves, how they think about other people that play games, and how they think about the people that make games. It was such it was so dismissive of what the game had done. What was it? It said something like, presumably those about the Gigolo mini games. Obviously, it said presumably you're supposed to come across like an appealing playboy or something. I don't know what is wrong with you if you think that is supposed to be an appealing portrayal of a person. I don't know what's wrong with you. The fact that you can say, oh, presumably they were going for that. No, don't presume that they fucking made a mistake. Presume that they were trying to do that. It's this fucking weird attitude. People have such a low opinion of other people. Games writers frequently... Matt Leeds, I had a bit of an altercation with him on Twitter, and he said, this is a game for masturbating children. And I said, why have you created some negative... Who are these masturbating children? If you're presented with something of a sexual nature and your first instinct is to think of that says so much more about you than it does about the game. And now you're throwing it out there, and it's the game's job to try and fight against it. I don't know why we tolerate shit like that. This is a game for masturbating children. Why are you thinking about masturbating children? Honestly, it's simple psychology. That's projected self-loathing. Genuinely, it is. The fact that people... This
is my number one game, so I could talk about this as well. And I wanted to talk about this for a long time because, we were emailing back and forth a little bit, and I think I'm totally Team Chet on this one because I as I was playing it, I saw how much of a mess it was in terms of sexual imagery and representing, women in video games, to the point where, I was thinking, well, she's like, there's a character in it who's your sort of sidekick or assistant who is such a meaningless girl who was dumb, stupid, and and she was clearly dominated by a male counterpart. And I just thought, well, that's bollocks. And then you finally meet a strong female character who is, sort of essentially your boss. Yet for some reason she's in a bra with a coat over it. And then the more I played it, and the more there were these sort of over-sexualized female characters. But then the more I got into the story, the more it seemed so like Mondo, the main character in it, was very arrogant. Everything was about him. He's very, very narcissistic character. And the more I got into the frame of this character and what he was like, the more the game reflected that. So the way that I saw it as I was playing through was that these girls could look like anything in reality, but to Mondo, they looked like this. They looked and acted like this. So to me, it didn't seem sexist. It seemed like a representation of a sexist character. And there's a huge difference between that. There's a huge difference between sitting there and going, oh my God, he's looking at a girl and he's saying all these nasty stuff. And then there's the view of saying, yeah, he's looking at these girls like this, what a prick. He's acting like this, what a prick. I'm getting a better feeling of this character through the way that I'm playing this game. And isn't that what this medium's all about? Putting you in situations that you wouldn't normally be in to express characters that are written by writers and to express a story that they need to tell. Can't sexism be represented in video game form at all through fear of the writer or the developer being called a sexist? I think I'm not. I think there's a big difference between a game like this and a game that glorifies, sexism. I don't think this game does that. I think if you look at it at a glance and out of context, then maybe you could draw that to that conclusion, but you can only draw to that conclusion being completely ignorant of what the game's about. So when I saw some of the reviews coming out, there was one that mentioned the Gigolo mission that said, oh, unsurprisingly, this game can be played with one hand. And I just kind of thought, now, one thing I will say about the Gigolo missions, and you said the same last week, they're shit. They're not very good. They're not fun to play. And whatever he was going for with these missions didn't work. You know, there's I didn't feel, if it was trying to make me feel titillated, or if it was trying to make me feel aroused in any way, that didn't work, because all you were doing, you weren't actually looking at a female, you were looking at bars going up. So it made you couldn't sit there and bang one out to it, because you had to constantly adjust the game, otherwise you would fail. So if it was trying to make me do that, then it didn't work. If it was trying to make me hate Mondo more, then I suppose it did work in a way, but not enough to feel relevant within the context. So although I didn't really like those Gigolo missions, I wouldn't have branded them. I wouldn't have like said they were sexist. I just think they were a failure at what he was trying to get across, and I think that's how we should look at video games, and not instantly sort of jump on this weird bandwagon of self-righteousness at the expense of someone that's trying to do something. You know, someone that's trying to do something artistic. It was a really weird reaction that I think was more based on either trying to make the individual look better, or like a better person or understanding person towards what is clearly a problem in video games, and in fact all sort of forms of media, or it was a way to try and drive clicks, and that shouldn't be what this shouldn't be what journalism's about, really, is it? Or even critique of something that is seen as an artistic form to many.
Yeah, it's the reaction to these have been a real mystery, and I think it is an indictment of the industry that it's got so much mileage, because there are some really harebrained things being fucking printed. I mean, I retweeted another link and I just said, this makes me want to fucking throw up, and it was from VG247, and it was like, so-and-so's have played this game and they've decided it's sexist, and John retweeted a caption from it that's just like, I can't believe an adult actually wrote that. But whatever you think about those Gigolo minigames, I'm quite happy for there will be people that play them and think that they're a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, I think they're uncomfortable. I think they're supposed to be uncomfortable, but there will be people that think that that's not. They will have genuine reasons for feeling that they, for not agreeing with me, and that's fine. Fucking play the game first. You can't come at me. A guy, when I was talking to Matt Leeds on Twitter, I say talking, it was just it was nonsense. One of his mates came to defend him, and he's a guy I follow. He used to work for Sega or something, and he had a YouTube link to one of the Gigolo minigames, and he was like, "Look at that! You can't defend that." And I said, knowing full well that he had not played it, do you not think that the cutscenes on either side of that sequence sort of showed it in a completely different light? And he was like, no, you can't go into detail on this. And I'm like, so that, as depicted, is sexist on its own. There's no, context is everything. If you want to disagree with it, if you want to hate it, please do. I'd love to have a conversation about it. The fact that people are jumping on... I mean, a lot of people have... I don't get it. I don't understand that. I understand that if you're employed by an outlet and you have to provide content for them, that's fine. But perverting your own fucking thought processes to try and put out this stuff that doesn't mean anything. Rewatch it. I rewatched that Matt Lee's video again. I'm sorry to go on about it because I really did fucking go off on one last week. But he's not talking about anything. There's no content to what he's saying. He's saying it's all about context. I fucking know it is. Give me some. It's just hot air, and the fact that people think it's a valid currency makes me fucking mental. One more thing sorry, go on.
You know what worries me the most about stuff like that is that it's the same shit that we really, really hate that publications, I say publications, but like the Daily Mail do. They'll take something out of context, inflame it to try and drum up interest and get us all angry. And I think I'm worried that certain sides of the internet are falling into that trap because it works. It works. That style of that style of viewing medium and games and stuff like that. It works. It gets people riled up, and it gets people talking. It gets people sharing links. And if that's what it's all about, then I don't want to be a part of that. I don't read the Daily Mail because they take out, oh, did you know the most popular name in Britain at the moment is Mohammed? Isn't that bad? Well, no, let's read that in context. Let's read, let's find out why that is. Is that a problem? Let's discuss this thing and not just take something out of context, make a headline out of it, like, killer is dead and so is Suda 51's career. It's just ripped out, stuck in, and in a hope to try and get people rolled up. And I'd hate for us to fall into that fucking trap that we hate as ourselves. We all hate the Daily Mail, or we don't all hate. I don't want to generalise, but it, we all know that the tricks that they use. Let's not have that in video game journalism, because that's just bollocks. It's bollocks.
Yeah, but what that's one of the things that I find so fascinating about that group of people, those games writers because what they do. I mean, Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I use it, but I don't really like it. But observing what people like that do, people like Matt Lees and people of those kind of circles, they spend 364 days a year tweeting links. News stories from the Guardian. Look at this. This is important. We've got to do something about this, and then they'll share also stuff from the Daily Mail saying, look at how awful this is, and then on one day of the year they'll engage in exactly the same shit, because that is exactly what that Matt Lees video is. People do cut all the important shit away and just try to. Is it just to farm hits? I don't know. I don't know whether it's just to try and draw more traffic to websites. I think people are just prone to really simplistic thinking. Especially when it comes to sex, people are so fucking uptight about sex. It's just, I don't know if your reactions, people react instantly. These fucking opinion pieces appear instantly. You don't have no time to give it any kind of context. But yeah, it does make me mad. The only danger is that I don't want to become a kind of spokesperson for the kind of scumbags that are like on the internet harassing. That's the one danger.
This is totally it, isn't it? And I mean, I wrote a piece on Spong about being conflicted when writing my Killer is Dead review, and try give it a read if you're interested. And like I try and be as sensitive towards people feeling. I would hate for video games to exclude any type of person.
Yeah, me too.
Old, young, female, race, whatever, right? I'd like to think it's one of the most inclusive mediums of all time. And the fact that this sexism issue has come up so much means that there's a problem. If there's a group of people that are really, sort of feeling secluded or let down or even abused, then there's a problem there and it needs to be addressed. But right now, the debate is not working. You've got the scumbags on the internet that are sending just the most vile stuff to female developers and writers and this, that, and the other. And then on the flip side, you've got other people that are branded. Why do I keep saying branding?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. My brain's broken today. But like there's a bunch of people branding developers sexist, and I think that's a dangerous thing to do as well, because if someone from Grasshopper is trying to get a job in another place or is trying to get a point of view across about sexism or whatever, they're going to be seen as part of this, sort of inflamed hatred towards Suda 51 and what he's trying to do. I just think it's dangerous, and it's a subject that needs to be debated, but not until people are prepared to debate it, as opposed to slinging insults on either side.
People hate debating. People they can't debate. They genuinely can't. I wrote an article last year when the ridiculous hoo-ha about booth babes at Eurogamer happened. I wrote an article, and the article was basically saying this is an incredibly complicated situation. Let's not just stand on soapbox and say yes, because everyone in the games industry was like, we've done it, we've overcome these hurdles, and I was like, there was so much thinly veiled contempt for the kind of young women that are in that line of work, and there was so much fucking crap. And I said, look, this is complicated, and I wrote an article that maybe it was good, maybe it was bad, I don't know. What I was trying to get across was that we need to discuss it more. And instantly, a very, very well-known British games writer tweeted that I look at this fucking guy, he's an idiot, he's a sexist, man. And then that was it. It snowballed. I saw people sharing it, going, "Look at this guy. I'm going to write a retort." But it's just like, why am I? That's it. Because that's the end of the discussion for them. They've labelled me. It's over. They've won. There's no discussion to be had. But yeah, it's
I mean, I said the same thing when the Booth Babe thing come out. It was kind of like saying that they don't want Booth Babes there anymore is one thing, but saying that it's wrong is another thing. And then what, we're going to regress back to the point where people are saying, well, they should cover up, because then it becomes like, as you said, it's so complicated. Yeah. It's so very complicated. I've never been in a situation where I've been it's sexually abused or put in a situation where I feel that I'm being judged on my sexuality or looks or anything like that. So it's hard to relate to that side of things. But at the same respect, it's, you know, how anyone could brand someone sexist on, you know, an article like that is beyond me, because that's just as harmful, I think. As I said, it's something that needs so much more debate, but it seems like people aren't prepared to actually give it thoughtful debate.
To be honest,
that's sad.
I don't think they can. When you watch one of these things happen on Twitter, and it's always on Twitter, that's why I hate Twitter so much. It's just like things go on Twitter, and so, you know, someone said to me the other day, "Oh, I heard you fell out with so and so." I'm like, someone I've never met. Someone I've literally never met, who I followed on Twitter for 5 minutes and now don't. I've fallen out with him. We've adapted language to sort of make it seem like we're actually interacting with people. Anyway, Twitter, people, when these things kick off, they don't genuinely discuss stuff. They stomp their feet, they scream their opinion repeatedly until the subject changes, and then everyone moves on to the next thing. Discussion rarely happens. And that's what really bothers me, because when you try and say, you know, we should probably look at this situation in a bit more in a few more colours than we're currently looking at it, people don't want to hear it. But yeah, anyway, one more thing with regards to Killer is Dead. There was a couple of reviews, I can't remember where they were, but they both said, I can't believe how disgusting it is, the portrayal of those women that are in those gigolo mini-games. Because what happens is, if you do the gigolo mini-games, those women throughout the campaign will phone you. A little picture of them will come up in the corner, and there'll be like a voicemail of them going, "Oh, Mondo, where are you going to be? I need to see you. We haven't, you know." That's exactly Bond girls. That's what Bond girls did. They go, "Oh, James, when are you coming back to bed? When are you doing this? When are you doing that? Oh, God, I can't exist without you. Oh, my God, I love you so much after 5 seconds." It's so interesting that a juvenile power fantasy like James Bond is fine at arm's length. But the second Killer is Dead, as far as I'm concerned, sticks it right under your fucking nose and said, "Look at what a cunt this man is." That is what an international playboy super spy would be like. He'd be a scumbag like Mondo Zappa. I did not like that cunt one bit, but I enjoy it. I like the game very much.
Yeah, so I mean, that kind of, again, sort of works with my view of the game and what it was trying to do, because you never see Mondo pick up the phone to those messages. You never see him interact with those messages. So I kind of saw them as, like, maybe they didn't even exist and they were in his head, that this is the way he saw these women, that they were, like, in the middle of, while he's doing something important, he's believing that these women are sitting there begging for him to come back. So that's kind of how I viewed it. And that's genuinely the feeling I got from the game. And when I was writing my review, I was worried about expressing that, because I didn't want it to sound like I was saying, nah, sexism ain't a problem. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't my point. Is that my point here was that you were playing as a sexist character, and that was being made very obvious throughout the game, and that's the feeling I got from it. Anyway, all this chat is completely ignoring the fact that there's a game here, a video game, and I did enjoy it. I thought it was ropey in some places. I thought it was a lot more solid than, Lollipop's Chainsaw. I think it was a step forward in that regard, but I hadn't played some of his earlier games, so I hear good things about them, but I didn't actually play them, so I couldn't compare them. But yeah, no, it was great. I mean, there's the one level that I immediately emailed you about was there's a level based on a train. And it's insane. It's so bizarre. There are moments where you just think, is the game broken? Is this what's supposed to happen? What the fuck is it doing now? It's it's so bizarre but wonderful. And by the end of that level, I really wanted to replay it again. So it has moments like that in that, but it's completely lost in this weird argument that happened over the internet, and I think that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I totally agree. There was one last thing I was going to say about it. What the fuck was it? Oh, it can't have been that important. Just with regards to what you're saying about thinking that all of those women might have been in his head and stuff, the way the plot was progressing and it kept going back to Mondo obsessing over those flashbacks he was having. And I was just
when he was a child, yeah.
You self-absorbed fuck. I'm not interested. Fucking get on with the story. I mean, I honestly, the more I think about that game, the more I'm just like, he is so clearly being presented as someone to not like. But yeah, anyway, sorry, we've spoken way too much. But I do enjoy the game and I do recommend it. And that level you spoke about especially is superb. And there are a couple of one bit especially, I think you mentioned it, is gut-bustingly amusing.
The bit where it cuts to something completely different and you're like, what is going on? All of it is just, it's the weirdest game I've ever played. And it's got moments in it where even the line "killer is dead" that gets barked out of the screen at the most inappropriate and strange times, and doesn't work in any context of what's being said. Again, at the time, I was sitting there playing it thinking, this really makes me hate Mondo even more, because it was like he was trying to be all cool saying this catchphrase, but it didn't work and had no context to it. Like, it was just really fucking odd. But it's certainly a game that's left me questioning myself, questioning what's going on in the industry, and it's certainly a game that I will think about for a very long time. And how many action games can you say that about?
No, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you. But you haven't played any Yakuza. You didn't play like Killer 7?
I didn't know. I didn't play Killer 7.
Hell of a Shadows of the Damned?
No, I missed that one. A lot of people said that I should play that.
Shadows of the Damned is basically comedy, and it's basically Resident Evil 4 with a load of comedy on top of it, and not any scares. Broadly speaking, that's what it is. One last thing on Killer is Dead. People have said that apparently the Gigolo minigames were supposed to be in Shadows of the Damned rather than Killer is Dead, and they just didn't fit, so they saved them.
Yeah, I've read loads of things. Like the publisher said that he has to put, this. It was their idea
to put them in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but they're there, so you can't sort of just write them off. They're part of the game. And I personally hated them. I thought they were shit, and I thought they were kind of pointless. Then everyone's going, well, you get these glasses where you get to see their underwear. Yeah, but you've got to play a fuck ton of that game to get those glasses. It's not like they're available from the start. None of that is explained when you're people sitting bitching, moaning about the about this game. It's all fucking ignored.
Yeah. That's right. They were supposed to be in Shadows of the Damned. You haven't played Shadows of the Damned, so you don't know this. But basically, the two main characters, you play as a character, and he's got this. It's like a skull, a floating skull. Basically, those two characters in that game are Beavis and Butthead. And I think if they were interacting in the people, if it was broadly like, look at these idiots, this is a comedy, look at them speaking to these women, look at them gawping at these women, I don't think there would have been any kind of fuss. It's the vague air of seriousness that Killer is Dead had is the main enemy, because if it was those two guys who in Shadows of the Damned, they read through books and they're just like picking out fucking vaguely amusing things. They're Beavis and Butthead. If it was those two in that scenario, I don't think there would have been any fuss, which just goes to show how fucking weird human beings are. Anyway, enough of that shit. That was my number 2. What was your number 2?
No, it was my number 1 next, which was Killer is Dead.
Oh, fuck, okay.
So straight back to you.
Okay, well, my number 1 is the aforementioned Splinter Cell Blacklist. I played it on the PlayStation 3, and it's also available on PC, Wii U, and Xbox 360. You did the mandatory install, didn't you? You did the texture installs on...
That's right, yeah.
How did it look?
I played it for about 15 seconds, didn't I? So I can't really comment.
Okay. Well, all right, on PS3, there's a mandatory install, which takes about 25 minutes to install. But the game looks pretty good. Basically, I think it's just shy of being excellent. I think it's a really fucking smart game. People are very fond of bitching about Splinter Cell Conviction. Did you play that?
Very, very briefly.
Okay. Because that really was taking it in a new direction and away from stealth almost entirely. I thought it was fine because if you recall what came before Conviction, it was Double Agent, which was an absolute washout of a game, and it highlighted the fact that it did need to be rebooted. And I thought Conviction was a really good reboot. It was an action game. Stealth was almost non-existent. You could just kill whoever you wanted. You didn't have to take any care over what you did, but it was very, very polished, very, very entertaining. This is a very calculated split between half of what Conviction was, but half of going back to the original trilogy of Splinter Cell games. So it's very, very hardcore stealthy. At points, oppressively so, and that's what fans are really, really interested in. It's now a series that's as obsessed with the military as Call of Duty is. And
yeah, big time.
Yeah, the plot and all of the kit that you have, but yeah, the plot is very simple. There's rogue soldiers called the Engineers, and the Blacklist is a series of attacks that they're conducting because they want troops to come home from sort of war zones and stuff like that. It reminded me of Die Hard, actually. Just what the terrorists pretended they were after. It's really, really good, and it's polished in a way that Ubisoft games over the last couple of years. I've praised Ubisoft so much because they brought out a load of high-end games that are much more thoughtful and experimental than they're ever given credit for, but also work fantastically well as games and look the part. I mean, Far Cry 3 is a great example. Assassin's Creed 3 is another great one, although it's a bit more divisive. I just really enjoyed going back to something that was really hardcore stealth. There are sequences where you're holding up on the pad and pressing a button, and it's Uncharted. I mean, Uncharted has infected every action series, every action game for the last few years, and this is not. This is exactly the same. There's bits where you're sprinting through pyrotechnics and you're not really interacting with the characters, but it works because it's done very sparingly. It's hokey as all hell, and one of the first things that happened, I laughed out loud because I thought, are you really? This is what Sam Fisher is. Basically, you're in sun-drenched Libya and you're walking around, and Sam Fisher is incognito and he's got a rucksack on his back, and he gets a call from his superiors saying, you've got to go and do this and so. He says, I knew this would get messy. It fades to black, and then it fades straight back in, and he's in his Splinter Cell gear. And I'm like, he was carrying that around in his rucksack, so he's basically fucking Superman now. He gets a call, he's changed instantaneously, and he's walking around Libya, back streets admittedly, but he's now essentially Superman. Ridiculous. Aside from a couple, and you mentioned it before, I can't believe they fell back on the cliche of having that techie guy attempting to make wisecracks and just being the light comic relief. He's saying dude. It's awful. But when he tries to be funny, I'm like, he's just annoying. I don't care how high up, I don't care what facet of the government you work for. You would just put a bullet in that guy's head. Just being needlessly oppressive and you just be like, I don't want to deal with that person. He has no, yeah, it's a Hollywood trope that they've adapted, and I don't really know where they've done it. It's really difficult in the way that the first few Splinter Cells games were, and you realise straight away that in Conviction, for example, you kill people, they're dead. That's the end of it. In the original Splinter Cell games, of course, leaving a dead body in the wrong place, you failed the mission, and that's very much the case here. You have to be very, very careful, and there's one bit about a quarter of the way through where you have to switch off. You're in this water refinery and you have to stop this poison from flooding the water. And it's a set piece that it took me about 20 minutes. And if you fail it, you're straight back to the drawing board. Like the old Splinter Cell games, it's quite unforgiving. But this is in between bits where it regularly saves and there's action and stuff like that. It's split between 3 play styles, so you can go Ghost, which means you take everyone out but you don't kill them, and you're permanently stealth. There's Panther, where you take everyone out, you're permanently stealth, but you kill them at the same time. And then there's Assault, where you just play it like an action game. There aren't a lot of places where you can do the Assault playthrough because it is so fucking difficult. I mean, even on normal, it's right back to those old Splinter Cell games. And I think a lot, hardcore fans, this is the game they've been waiting for. They may not like some of the bits where you're sprinting through exploding buildings and stuff, but by and large, this is the game they've been waiting for. And as a fan of the first lot of games, although I did like Conviction as well, I think it's basically fucking excellent. Even there's a real trend in action games at the moment where at some point, I've lost track of how many times I've done this, but halfway or after through the campaign, you'll be captured, and in this case, a lot of people are already away. At one point, you're in what's basically Guantanamo Bay. And you're captured, and then you're stripped of all of your kit, and then you have to escape. Despite the fact that I feel like I've done that a million times, it really works because it has that Ubisoft polish, that Ubisoft, where you feel like they've thought about every aspect of it, and you're open to experiment so much of the time, which is something you could not do in Conviction. Everything was very narrow. Here, it's opened up, and you feel like you can genuinely play around and try different things. It's basically pretty fucking great. The multiplayer stuff is really good. Spies versus Mercs versus what was it called?
Yeah, I think it's Spies versus Mercs, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. I'd never played that, but 5 minutes and I was completely aware of the praise was completely justified because you're either first person shooter and you've got things like grenades and. You can't. It's basically a first-person shooter where you move slowly. You've got grenades and you can't take cover. Versus Splinter Cell, and it seems so balanced when you're in 3 teams of people who are communicating. It's great. There's loads of co-op stuff. It's all integrated into the map HUD, like a lot of games are these days, where they try and sort of throw all of the content into one sort of HUD interface. Like the Bureau, which I spoke about a couple of weeks ago, it owes a lot of a debt to Mass Effect 2 because you're on this plane and it's basically your ship, and you can go to get kit upgrades from different people, or you can go and get sort of missions from them. And there's stuff like weekly challenges, so you can sort of all that standard stuff, earn extra money in co-op and multiplayer. There's even a deathmatch mode which actually works surprisingly well. And none of it feels tossed off. None of it feels like it's sort of secondary to anything else. It's a polished. It's basically pretty fucking great, I think. I finished it earlier today, and I might be tempted to go back and try and do it in one of the harder difficulties. It's really good. I liked it a hell of a lot.
I like that. I like the sound of that because after seeing the marketing campaign, I was like, fucking hell, this is going to be terrible. Have you seen the advert running on the telly? I don't think I have, no. So bad. They ask the audience, are you willing to inflict terror for your own freedom? What, really? What, like a terrorist then, is it? I don't know what you're asking of me there. Are you willing to be a terrorist?
Well,
It's just really odd, really like sort of, barking right-wing slogans at you while buildings are exploding. It's really weird.
Yeah, I can't say I've seen that.
No, I'm glad the game is a little bit more balanced than that.
Yeah, no, it really is. There are bits of it where you end up holding your breath. I mean, there are some really tense moments. The action stuff doesn't. I reckon that sort of makes up for about 10% of the package. This is a stealth game. And there's great. I mean, you can really. It's really. Sam Fisher's really customizable. All of his kit you can customize. All of that stuff is really, really involved and really polished and well thought out. I'm surprised it hasn't got quite the sort of critical response. I think Conviction was more well received in this, which is a bit of a shame because this is. I mean, it is fucking difficult. I don't know why there's an option for Assault at this point because. Whenever things go loud, you're dead, and that's just on normal. There's 2 difficulty settings above that. I don't know how you're supposed to play it and try and get assault points because, god damn, it's hard. But I really, really recommend it. Fucking cool game.
Cool. All right then. It's been a very serious show, isn't it?
Yes, it has, and a fucking long one as well. I don't know how long we've been going. It's got to be 2 hours plus now.
Sorry. 40 minutes, 10 games.
10 games in 40
Chet
minutes.
and John.
Fucking hell. Okay, well, yeah, thank you very much for listening for all this nonsense. We'll be back next week. Twitter, Chet Roivas, John Denton, Chet and John's. Have you got a Joypod coming this week?
Nah, I'm away, so we're going to do one in a couple of weeks, I think. Didn't
you record one this week already?
Nah, we were going to, but then Sean decided to move house, so we didn't have time. But check us on iTunes while you still can, because we're fucking it off in a couple of months.
But you'll stay on iTunes, won't it?
I think so. If Spong keep the episodes up, we'll still be there.
Okay. All right, fair play. Okay, well, yeah, thanks very much for listening. David Turner's on Twitter, I believe.
That's it.
And yeah, thanks very much for listening.
Bye.
See you later.
Love you, bye.
You supplied weapons for Blacklist Zero?
Hey, I supply a lot of people, okay? They don't usually go around targeting U.S. bases.
Who was it?
All I know is that they were talking about the attack on the embassy in Vienna, like they were fucking proud of it.
Hundreds of innocent people died in that attack.
Yeah, no shit, that's what I'm saying. This guy is a monster. He's a fucking ghoul, okay? And he doesn't leave loose ends.
Yikes. Shitty week. Am I right? This guy. Ugh. What?
Who the fuck is this guy?
I'm the guy who does his job. You must be the other guy.
Little maths textbook exercise book boxes. It's a really nice touch, but everything's drawn so it looks like a kid's exercise book. At first the enemies are just spaceships and then they're smiley faces and stuff. It's a really cool idea, but the fire from your ship breaks everything, including enemy fire. So literally I just moved from left to right shooting constantly and it wiped everything out, wiped out all the enemies, wiped out all the fire, so I just never got hit, and I did that for 10 minutes, got bored. There's some cool weapons. You can deploy mines to the top of the screen and stuff, and it's a bit more inventive than most shooters like that, but it's too easy. It basically doesn't work. Hopefully they can patch it. Paper Galactica, it's fine, don't bother.
If there's one thing I want in games, it's that it works. So I mean,
exactly. That's the problem.
It's not really sounding.
XBlig developers are now allowed to patch their games, so with any luck that'll get patched, because it's a cool idea. It's 69p. That's right.
Yeah.
So it's fine, but don't bother.
Fair enough. My number 9 is, I think it's also an indie game. It's a little number called Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3.
Why?
on the Xbox 360 Entertainment System. So what happened is I went to visit my uncle down in Bletchley, and he had 2 cousins there, youngish sort of fellas, and they were sitting in the front room playing this and Saints Row 3, and I mean they shouldn't be. It's very naughty. It's an 18-rated game, but they were having the best time, and I sort of stopped and reflected on my own life and just thought, holy shit, I don't play games like this anymore. And what I mean by that is that in Modern Warfare 3, they weren't playing online, they weren't playing the campaign. They were just playing survival mode over and over again, and just laughing, and they knew every nook and cranny of every map, and they knew where all the enemies spawn, they knew all the tricks, they knew the best weapons, and they were upgrading their weapons and shit like that. When they were playing Saints Row 3, they were finding cars, taking them to the garage, and sort of applying every mod to them, and putting cheats in there to turn everyone into zombies, and all sorts of weird shit like that. And I just thought, I don't play games like that anymore. I sit down, and if I've got Modern Warfare 3, I play through the campaign, I sit and moan about it, or, you know, I enjoy certain bits and try and defend it. I sit and play the multiplayer and get frustrated with that. And I don't... Modern Warfare 3, they did it, and we never played it because I've never got around to doing it. I don't think Matt bought that one. But the other genius with it, and I wish they did it on FIFA as well, I've been crying out for this for years, is that you only needed one other partner. So, you know, when you get online, sometimes it's difficult to get 4 for like Left 4 Dead. Sometimes it's difficult to get, you know, a certain amount of people to have a good game of Battlefield or whatever. But when you're playing a game specifically designed for 2 people, it's always easy to just text your mate and say, do you want to play this tonight? And that's what you're playing. And I really want that with FIFA. They do the 11 versus 11, and they do the single player thing, but I wish they had, you know, 2-on-2 mode.
They do, so they do. I'm sure they do.
You can do it, but there's not a specific area for it. So, you know, like seasons, you've got seasons where you play and then you build up points and you get relegated or promoted and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wish they had that specifically for 2 people. And they do if you've got someone in the room with you, but not if it's me, my mate Matt up in Leeds, playing 2 other people from around the country. You know, I think it's sad that they don't do that properly, because I would kill for a mode like that. But yeah, reminiscing over a copy of Call of Duty of all things.
All right, so you're not going to go back to it and start smashing through it?
No, I hate the game, but it was still, it sent me back to a teenager again. That was nice.
All right, cool. Genuine. All right. Okay, all right. Well, my number 9 is a game called Ben 10 Alien Force: The Rise of Hex on the Xbox 360. Did you play this?
I played a Ben 10 game, but it was on the 3DS, not not the Xbox 360.
Okay, this was one of those things that got, for some reason, it got put onto the marketplace for free. For 2 days it was on. It's an arcade game that's normally 800 points. It was on for free by accident. Who knows? I don't know. I downloaded it to have a look, and it's I shouldn't judge it because I played it for about 20 minutes, but it's fucking awful based on that. It's a platformer, and you're Ben 10, and I don't know anything about Ben 10, so I don't know whether this is what he does. You have the ability. You bring up this wheel, and you can change into one of 12 characters, and all of the 12 characters do something different.
Oh man, this is exactly the same as the 3DS version.
It might be the same game. It might have come out on both. You pick at the beginning. There's only 2 available. One of them does something I can't remember. That's how little I care about this game. The second one does. He can activate. He puts electricity onto switches, and then it operates switches. Basically, I started playing it, and I got to.
I like big butts and I cannot lie. Those other brothers can't deny. For your information, I was referring to butts, not butts.
Hello and welcome to episode 78 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name is Chet Roivas. John Denton's not with us this week. He's on holiday, so stepping in is Joypod host David Turner.
Evening all.
We are about to go through 2 top 10 lists, the 10 games we've been playing over the last 7 days. Number 10s are the games we've been playing the least. Number 1s are the games we've been playing the most. That's it, Dave. Let's do it.
Right, I'm starting, am I?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the shortest amount of time I think I've ever put into a video game. Well, actually playing it anyway. I've been playing Splinter Cell Blacklist.
Oh.
And what happened is I installed. You know, you ever do that thing where you just don't even look at you just whack the disc into your Xbox 360, hit X, and then install it straight away, right?
Yeah,
that's standard. So I did that, but then I realised there was another disc. So I thought, oh, for Christ's sake, I'll install that. So I installed that, and then I put in disc 1, and it said put in disc 2, and I was like, oh, fuck off. So I put the second disc in, and it was like, right, now installing the high HD texture pack. I was like, but I've already installed whatever's on here. So I did that, and that took about 45 minutes.
Wow.
It was well frustrating. And then it said put in disc 1. I was like, oh, stop telling me to do shit. So I put in disc 1, and then it played a cutscene that was far too long and full of some of the most cliche shit that I've ever seen in my life. Like there was the cocky hacker, the computer hacker guy, and everyone else is in military outfit, but he's wearing a hoodie. You know, it's that shit like that. Yeah. And then it said, oh, you go into cover by pressing A. So I went into cover, and it was like, right, take these guys out. And I walked out of cover, and they go, oh, look, he's over here. And they shot me, and I died in 2 shots, and I turned it off. That was my experience of Splinter Cell Blacklist.
I saw you playing it. Annoyingly. Sorry, go on.
You probably saw me installing it, to be honest. Right. That's you know, in terms of how long I put into it, that was probably what you saw. I really want to play Spies versus Mercenaries. And is it Mercenaries? I think so. Yeah. Because I really enjoyed that game on the Xbox, and you know, it was so good, and it come out at a time where, you know, we weren't even just completely used to first-person shooters online at that point on Xbox Live. So not only was it like a really refreshing idea, it come really early on, and we had so much fun with it. So I wanted to jump into it, but I couldn't find the option. So I don't know if you have to unlock it or whatever. I went back to the main menu, and it was like start the story. So maybe it's on the second disc. I haven't tried that yet, but I'll get round to that eventually. That's essentially what I got that game for. And, you know, not the stealth action, because I'm not a stealth fan. I don't want to be waiting in shadows when I'm playing a video game.
You're not going to play the campaign?
If I could get past the first man, I might do. But right now, I keep popping out of a crate and getting shot. So I'm not, I don't know. It's very rare that I like a stealth part of a game. The ones that I did like were the Batman series, as everyone says, because it was so easy to jump in and out of, you know, being found. I hate walking out of a place, being found and killed straight away. And it was like, right, okay, do that again. Whereas, you know, things like The Last of Us, Batman, and even Far Cry, when you had stealthy bits in Far Cry, it was all about if you're found, you can get out of that situation easily and move back into stealth. What I don't like is instant failing the moment you get found. So I don't know. I might whack it just down to easy and just play through it, because I hear it's actually a pretty good game. So I'm not saying it's shit or anything. It's just that I've played it for about 5 seconds.
Okay, that's really annoying, because I thought it was going to be higher on your list, because it's higher on mine. So I'll talk about it in a bit.
Good.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, my number 10 is a game called Paper Galactica on the Xbox 360. It's an indie game, and I downloaded it because it has, without question, the worst box art of all time. There's no arguing. It's black pen on a white background, and it's a drawing of a smiley face with an explosion around it. The aspect ratio's gone all stretched and weird because it's zoomed in really close, so it's a horrible looking box. But in fact, the game's actually all right. It's a Space Invaders style shooter, so it doesn't scroll. The enemies just descend from the top of the screen. It's a really nice idea because it all takes place on the pages of a school exercise book, so you can change the background. It can be like lined writing paper, or you can have like the
play a game to sit down and just fuck around with anymore and see what happens. For 10 minutes, they were just shooting one guy that was already dead on the floor just to laugh at the physics. When was the last time you did something like that? You know what I mean? When we played GoldenEye back in the day, and you know, we had a lot more time and, you know, not as much money to spend on different games. You knew everything about the dam. Not the dam level, but the dam. You knew that if you zoomed in with a sniper rifle, there's a weird, mysterious island further down there. Or if you jumped off the dam in a certain way, it would be a slightly weird cutscene afterwards and stuff like that. You knew everything about it. So I drove home constantly thinking of Modern Warfare 3, and I thought, when I get home, I'm just going to go back into my childhood, load up a survival mode and just sit and play it for a few hours. About 3 minutes later, I realised it was bollocks, but that's besides the point. I just thought, wow. And I said, why aren't you playing Black Ops 2? And they were like, oh, we don't like that one as much. It wasn't like, I've got to have the latest game, or I've got to do this, or I've got to do that. It was just they were playing simply for their own enjoyment, and I wanted to try and recapture that, and sadly, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'm a grumpy old bastard.
Exactly, that's the problem, isn't it? Yeah.
What realisation that is.
Saying that, it's the best part of Modern Warfare 3 was that survival mode. It was, I mean, Horde has been done to death, but that's one of the best iterations of it. So I still think the closest I've got to that was when I think it was Modern Warfare 3, but we played it in Modern Warfare 2. It was the Spec Ops mode. And that really took over our life for a good month. To the point where because it was in 3 difficulty settings, so you'd have like easy, medium, hard, and you'd play it on easy to get the gold medal, then you'd play it on hard to get the gold medal on that, and then, like, you know, whatever. You went through the different tiers of the same level, so by the time you completed it on hard, you knew where everyone was, what you had to do, and you might have spent an hour on a single level, but you learnt it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It was the closest I've had to Time Splitters 2 since, you know, that game come out. So yeah, when it comes to Modern Warfare games, those Spec Op modes are so overlooked, yet they're probably the best thing, you know, that those kind of online games have done. It's so fucking clever.
Have they done? They haven't done Spec Ops in any other Call of Duty, have they?
I think it was